Alrighty. Believe we're live. Believe we're live. Hopefully we're live. It's hard to tell with this event, but let me check. Excuse me, guys. Let me just check. So actually, what I'm gonna do is what's going on, everybody? What's up, Rob? What's going on, man? Michael, how are you? So let's get right into this video. Not much to say, but pretty much this whole notion of uh, seeing a hump of water is complete nonsense, as most of us know. Take these headphones off. All right, that feels much better. I just need to check out the audio anyways. But I do have a video. I do have a video that goes into a little bit more visual. I did a time lapse actually that perhaps I'll try to. George Garcia, what's up, man? What is good? So I did a time lapse. I put that video out. I don't know if you guys haven't seen it. If you haven't, I'll link it right now. But in the time lapse, I actually used my GoPro, and if you know how to set the GoPro up the right way, you won't get the bending. But I still went in there and made sure I did the lens correction, so we didn't have any kind of warping of the horizon. So that was a cool time lapse because I did that somewhere. I want to say I did that probably like in the middle of the day. I set it up and I just left it until it got night. But GoPros just don't do good with the night, so like it gets all. So I just kind of, once it got dark enough, I just kind of cut the night part out because you would just see black because there's no. It doesn't do good with the exposure to be able to see the stars. I mean, at least I haven't figured out how to do it yet. I'm sure there's a way, but I haven't figured out how to do it. So the time lapse I think was pretty cool. Um, Believe it or not, that time lapse was over 55 gigs worth of data. So yeah, that was pretty nuts. So let's see. I'll play it. I'll play it right now for you guys. Um, and I'll just do a quick little talk while we show it. Um, so yeah, I'll get to that. I'll probably get to that. Um, Let me get to this real quick. So if you guys haven't seen this time lapse, I did it. I'm gonna put it right now. I'll put it on the screen. You guys can see it, and I'll play it for you guys. But it's a pretty cool time lapse of chasing what I called it, chasing the sunset, right? Um, and like at this point, I believe heading we're heading back north. So we're coming from St. Martin all the way back to Florida, and this was, I believe, the first night heading back. Um, I didn't go in there thinking I'm gonna do a bunch of research. But I did go in with the aspect as I'm going to go in here and take the opportunities to show some really cool examples of stuff you just don't see, unless you're in the middle of the ocean, kind of like how I was. But as you see, like, look the way the sun kind of phases, like it's crazy the way it's you can see how bright it gets, and then but a lot of that has to do with clouds. A lot of cloud coverage, layers and layers of atmosphere starts really blocking it, and you see it's almost looks like it shrunk. So we're cruising. Obviously this video was sped up, and obviously look how much clouds there were at this point. Like there's pockets of where it doesn't. You see how the color changes right there? It's pretty awesome. Again, when I finally was able to get this footage all together, because this is just a bunch of, I want to say this was like 1,500 photos that were taken, which was unbelievable. My computer, at first I had it on my laptop, and it just took 3 hours, and it didn't even render out the right way. Then I put it on my main machine, which I'm using right now, and it just cut through it like butter. But yeah, it's amazing. And if you see some of these, I'll try to use my mouse to show you, but if you see, like, these are other boats, and they probably like 40, 50 miles away. I would imagine you could actually see the lights now, right? Come on, man. You guys know what time it is when it comes to that. That is impossible to see stuff like that. So like you could see now there's three ships right there. And I want to say at this point, they have to be at least 20 miles away. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that was this. And then I'm going to show you some other footage. And this footage, this is the one that D Marble asked me to get. I did a live stream while I was in St. Thomas. And in this live stream, in that live stream, I did yeah, it does look like at times the clouds are behind the sun. Who knows, right? But it was cool how we were able to chase it. But see, my boy D, you guys know D Marble. He asked me to try to see if I can get footage of something that you have to be in certain situations to be able to see something like this. And when I say certain situations, it's like you have to be like how I was out at sea. A lot of times if you're out at sea, you get this phenomenon happen. I saw it the first night. I just didn't record anything. And then we were in the hot tub. And if you see to the right over here, this is a hot tub right here. So we were just chilling. It was like the last night before we got back on to land, and so we're right over here where you see this blue. I'm at the top deck now. I get out the water. It was windy as heck, and I had my phone on me, so I was like, I'm gonna take this opportunity to show. So as you see over here, it's clear that the sun is right over here because you see all this is daylight. Now, because there's so much cloud coverage, you didn't get the most of where you would see the definition of how much day it was, but you could see the sun's still above the horizon, and you have all this showing that it's daytime. So if I play the video, you see where I'm talking about that, and I zoom. So I show you again, and I zoom to the left, and I show you it's complete pitch black dark on my other side, and that is amazing. Like that's something that took me by surprise. Like to see that it's complete daytime there, and then to pan to the left and to see complete darkness. What I should have did was look up because I think the moon was almost right above my head at that point, and I'm at I want to say like the 15th floor of the cruise. So again, that's not something you see every day where it's complete darkness and then you see daytime and nighttime at the same time. And guys, you know that that's impossible if you live on a ball. It's just not possible. It just doesn't happen. So I'll play that again. And like I was blown away to see that, how crazy it is that you can see literally day and night at the same time. And again, I think that's something when you're out in the ocean the way we were, then you can see both day and night at the same time. So I just have it kind of playing in a loop. And again, if I actually turned on the sound, you would hear how windy it was. Let me actually do that for you guys. But you can hear now how windy it was. So yeah, it's pretty windy. And I was just, it's not something you see every day. So I might just put this itself on its own video, but I definitely wanted to talk about it and show you guys some of the experience. I did a bunch of more time-lapse footage. I just haven't got a chance to fully edit it, and I hopefully, actually, let me put it down. I don't want to, like, that's kind of annoying how loud it is. But yeah, so you can see it's very, very fire for truth. What's up, Nate? I gotta make Nate make him a moderator. That's my dog. Man, you can see that on land, bro. Come on now. Oh, here we go. No, you don't really get to see it that you're I would say you're probably more of a situation where it's complete darkness and you get the night sky like that. That, you know, that's not something that happens where, and like I said, I think my mistake was I didn't get to show you the moon, which was I think pretty, I think it was right above me at the time, and I was just in a rush doing this. Told you I just got out the hot tub and it was crazy. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. Like on the time lapse, which I'll just show again one more time. Oh, let me get rid of that. And let me go. Let's go over here. In the time lapse, that, like, you're traveling all that distance, right? And at not one point are you going behind any kind of curvature. Now, one point are you seeing a hump of water the way they tell you, oh, you can see boats going over the curve. I constantly were seeing other cruise liners that had to be 30, 40 miles away. It had to be. There's no other explanation. It literally had to be 30 or 40 miles away. And is it here? Yes. So we'll replay this. And you're just you're just going in further and further in the distance. Like you'll see a point and then you'll get to that point, and then again you just keep going further and further and further away. It's not going over anything, it's not going under anything. You're not doing any kind of motion where you could see yourself. Let's see. Okay, so there's none of this. You're not doing this at any time. And at this point, I would say this time lapse was probably, like I said, it was done within hours. This is originally the full time lapse video. I sped this up, was about 5.5 minutes. And with all that, 5.5 minutes, if anyone knows about time lapse, knows that 5.5 minutes worth of time lapse is hours upon hours of footage. So we're looking at least, I want to say this was um, probably at least 4 to 5 hours worth of traveling, right? And you could see how wide it is, and you can see both from left to right. Okay, now once is the boat starting to lean a little bit more towards the other. It's constantly just moving on a straight path. There's no humps, there's no dips, there's no nothing. You're just moving. The only thing that the boat does is rock back and forth between the waves. That's it, right? And a lot of that, it's got to do with some of the wind. Like the last night that I had, it was um it was pretty windy, as you could hear in that clip, which caused the boat to rock up and down a little bit. And I do have some footage where like my son's in the pool and the pool is rocking, like the water is going from one side to the other. That was pretty cool. I understand there's light pollution and all that, but there's not that much, or to that degree. Like I said, if we look here, right at this point, the sun, I would say the sun is like right here, not down here yet. It's probably like right here. Obviously, this is a GoPro lens, so we're not gonna get a lot of clarity and super sharpness because it's a small sensor. But and this is now done over two types of video. In the compression YouTube, you lose some of the detail of it, but still it's quite beautiful to look at. So let me turn that off and get back to me right now. And yeah, it's no, there's no bending water. That's one of the reasons why you get, so we're talking about artificial light. Yeah. So one of the reasons why you get that phenomenon, or is it a phenomenon? Is it something that just happens? But because um, a lot of us, like, I've kind of seen it when I was just at my house, because I don't live too far from the ocean already. I live in Florida. So I want to say maybe it's a 10-minute drive to the ocean. And it's just not as noticeable. Okay, so like being on the East Coast, when the sun goes west of us, right? I don't really get a sunset because it's definitely been like there's so much in front of me at that point. Other city skylines like Tampa and Naples, all this is all in the way. So unless I take my drone up, then I get a really good aspect of how the sun kind of just vanishes. It doesn't go behind anything, just vanishes. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. It was some of my experiences. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them. I'll do the best to answer, certain things that I was able to experience. I'll say this: if you haven't taken a cruise and experienced some of this stuff, I was fortunate enough to be able to take a cruise with my family and experience this. There was at no time a gimbal. No, actually, I had it. I just had it on my. We were fortunate enough to be on a balcony. So what I grabbed was a Joby Gorilla Pod, put my camera on top of that, and I just wrapped it around the rail of the actual balcony and just shot it right there. That's how I got my shot. Um, and yeah, it was cool. It was cool to experience that. But I'm not a morning person whatsoever. I just can't. Ever since I could remember, I just never been a big morning person. And just being out there in the ocean and being able to see like the sunrise and stuff like that. The first few nights, I was up at like between 4:30. So the first night, I was up at like 4:30 out of nowhere. I just felt like this urge to get up, and then I'm looking. I'm like, so I set my GoPro up and I was looking at it, and it was just a cool sight to see. And then the second night, by that time, we're now headed towards St. Thomas, and we're, I would say we're definitely way lower than the equator. Um, so with that, I try to get up at the same time, and they're 1 hour ahead of us. Obviously, it makes sense, they're miles and miles, way ahead of us. And so there's when you go on a cruise, you have ship time, and then you have wherever you're at. Like if especially if you're going anywhere kind of international. So they were an hour ahead of us, and like I think I woke up at like 5 something this time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see the sun come up again. And again, what are you gonna do? You're gonna end up getting on the. I got up and it was already like way above. I was like, what the hell? And then I realized, oh, there was a time change, which was obvious because the sun is not 93 million miles away. It would have hit us all at the same time, more or less. The sun's rays at that distance from like where we are to the equator and everything. St. Thomas was pretty beautiful itself. Do you think the ship was bigger than Noah's Ark? How the heck would I know? I mean, uh, I don't know, even know that. Like, I didn't go out there to measure it. Who's this guy? Um. So yeah, that's about it. With that, it was this ship was a ginormous. It felt like it was a skyscraper in the water. But the last like day and a half, I would say we definitely started feeling a little bit more of the rocking of the boat or the ship, whatever we want to call it. What I don't want to say I regret, but before I went on the trip, I was thinking about renting the P1000, and it would have been about $100 for me to be able to um, rent it, and I just figured out I'll use that money towards the trip instead of I came there with the family. I wasn't there to do a bunch of flat Earth research, which I still got some amazing footage. I still have footage I haven't released because I'm still going through some of that stuff and trying to organize it and then figure out how to put a more polished video. But um, yeah, like I just wanted to talk about my experience when I was out there. It was pretty eye dropping on how amazing um, being able to wake up, and see the sunrise, see the sunset, and experience like just straight level, sailing. That's what you're doing. You're just level sailing. Um, there were some nights where it was really clear. I was trying to do a time lapse with my main camera, but I forgot my intervalometer. So that's why a lot of the time lapse I did do had to do with my GoPro because that's built in intervalometer. I have a Sony A7 III, so it doesn't like you have to have either a remote, something like this, to be able to do like time lapse with, or sometimes they also have cables that you can use that have like remotes like this, and then you can set it all up. But for whatever reason, Sony does not implement the intervalometer to add the time lapse feature built into the camera. There's many ways of doing time lapse. Like you could leave it and just shoot video and then speed it up. That's one way, but you drain so much more battery. You do a lot more. Um, it's just a lot different. Where when it's built in, it just works a lot better. So I couldn't like. This would have been one of the perfect cameras to do it because the low light, like night photography with this. Oh my God, that this camera is amazing with that. And I had downloaded an app to be able to see like which stars, because there were some stars that were just super bright, like it was crazy, and I just was like, what star is that? And then I just went and grabbed this app. In fact, let me see if I could show you what the app is. It's called Sky Guide. So let's see if you could see the app. It's this one right here. So if I clicked on that, it makes some noise, so I gotta mute it. Like you could point to it in the sky and it gives you readings of like this right now is telling me behind me this is what the stars that you should be seeing, right? See? It shows you Polaris is behind me. It's a really cool app. And then you can see like if it's so if I it's hard because it's kind of using the it's hard for you guys to see that, but it's a really cool app. Um, but yeah, like if I would have had, there was one night where you would have been able to see, I forgot what it was called. There was, oh man, it was one night that you could see like the actual. You would have been able because it was a clear enough night. Problem is, again, I'm not having my even I didn't even know how to use the time lapse feature for nighttime. Time lapse feature for daytime on GoPro is easy. There's a different setting for night, and I hadn't used my GoPro in I want to say like a good year and a half, 2 years. So I was trying to get familiar with the settings, and I have some awesome pictures. I have to actually see where maybe I can find these pictures. Let me see if I have the pictures. If I can find them. No, that's not it. Time lapse. No, that's not it. Or where would I have put it? I'm looking right now on my computer to see if I have. Do I dye my beard? No. No, in fact, you can see there's grays. There's definitely grays in there. uh, One day, so you could see some grays. If I went up close, there's some whites here. So I just have a naturally dark and thick beard. This is like me actually being real lazy. Usually I keep it real nice and tamed down, but I got into this lazy mode and I decided to leave it like that. Let me see if I could find it because I know I'm trying to see if I would have put it. Would I have it here? Trying to see if I could find some of the photos because they were pretty amazing. No, it's not here. I think it's on my other camera. Oh, my camera shut down. I think I don't have any more battery in it. Let's see. There's a chance the batteries went gone. Or it might have overheated. There's my computer. Yeah, it overheated. It just showed me I have to turn it off. Yeah, it overheated. I think I was shooting it in 4K. Um, so, I'm just going to end the stream. I'll probably come back, though. Hey, we all got, you know, I'm gonna get there one day. I'm not in a rush though. I'm definitely not in a rush. But guys, I'm going to let me see something. Now I wonder if no, I don't think none of these will play. Okay, so let me show you something right here. Um here's a night time lapse I did, but this was more video. Hopefully you guys can see it. All right, I think you guys can see it. So this is just a video time lapse. I have the sound turned down. And this is cool. This was cool. Like you can see like how the moon's reflecting again. You know, look at this. It's almost like a spotlight. It's just reflecting down. So this was the balcony right here. You can see this is where the other balcony is right here to the room next to us. And I just found the moon and put it right there. And this is when we were heading more south. We were heading to St. Thomas at this point. It was either St. Thomas or we were heading to St. Martin. And the moon was just, it was right there. And it's like, you know, it's like personal moon because the light's coming right towards my feet. I just see everything else is complete pitch black dark. Now, at the time, I thought I was taking a photo of the actual, like a photo. There's a difference between video and photo time lapse. A video is what you're seeing right now on screen. A photo, you can actually take it into a program like Lightroom and then definitely bring out like if like you I would have seen stars and stuff, and I could have brought all that stuff out. I would have been able to do a lot more. um you would have seen way more detail. But when you're shooting video and doing a time lapse, you lose a lot of that resolution. But with a actual photo time lapse and then syncing it together into a video, that's a totally different time lapse. That's when you see the best time lapse of all times. Like all the time, if you go on YouTube and type in where you get to see like the Milky Way and all that stuff, and you get to see all the stars just look super bright. That's done by photo. That's not done by video. It's added into a timeline and created into a video, but that's all photo. And because photos are easier to bring out the most in a time lapse, those are the best way to shoot a time lapse is photos. And again, this was like the day I was trying to figure out how to mess with the settings. So if I speed it up, you can see, and it's cool. You see how it just gets like now all this is highlighted, right? Now you can see this because now the clouds are blocking. I think I have another one over here. Man, this is a lot longer than I was planning on it. So this is like a little bit further down, believe it or not. So I'll speed this up. Yeah, it's about the same. And I think that's it. All right, so I'm gonna cut this off now. I'm just rambling. I'm probably boring you guys. So, thank you guys for hanging out. And if there's any questions you guys have, please leave them in the comments down below. If you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll try to find some more awesome footage that I was able to take and show you guys later.